Now, there's accounting. Hey, I'm in the middle of a podcast. There's accounting. Oh, dang. Hold on. Sorry about that. Little technical difficulties. Now there's accounting, there's finance, and then there's also the banking world. What do you want? It's giving multiple interruptions. I'm sorry. Again, sorry about that. So, what was I saying? Oh, finance. There's accounting, and then there is banking. So, and that's probably where that's actually where I got my foundation at. Not get on out. You messing up the broadcast. Get out. Leave. Close the door, please. Sorry. That was unprofessional. That's okay. So in banking, seriously, dude, seriously, nigga. I didn't have a traditional finance. I didn't have a traditional upstart into finance. I didn't just jump into finance. I didn't go to college for finance. I didn't go to college for accounting. I didn't go to college for banking. Well, I don't know if you really can go to college for banking, but I didn't go to college thinking I was going to work at a bank. I went to college. My for those that y'all don't know, I've told y'all about this 1,000 times. I went to college for international studies, right? And I concentrated in international business, but I did that because I was thinking I was going to work for like the United Nations or something like that, be an ambassador to the UN or be a state diplomat or something, and work with economics, help how to economically develop places, right? For those that don't know what that means, I would hope everybody knows what economically means. But economically, for those who don't know what economically is, means to basically allow a place to get more money, allow them to be certified of what they wealth, so they can uplift themselves, have opportunity to create a neighborhood, a community where job opportunities are coming in. Goods and services are stable. The economy is the management of scarce resources. So essentially, you need to get into one of those three categories. Get an accounting job, get a finance job, or start in banking. It's probably easiest to start in banking how I did, if you don't have any background in accounting or finance or blase. It's probably easiest to do that because really, you can go work at a bank right out of high school. In high school, you could be a teller at a bank. Start there. Be a teller. Learn how to count. I'm going to do another video later on about the difference between banks and federal credit unions. But basically, a bank and a federal credit union, they're basically the same exact thing, except credit unions are for the purpose of serving a specialty group of customers, a special demographic of customers. And you don't call them customers, you actually call them members. That was one of the main pet peeves. But I'm going to get into that into another video. We'll talk about that later. So, but essentially, the jobs that you were dealing with, here are more lucrative than a lot of jobs. Now, I mean, if you were to compare them to the health industry, I was thinking, if you were to compare them to litigation, like the lawyers and those who are in law, the people in finance, if you were to compare those people to them, they probably even out. I would say that the top of finance probably makes more than those people, but maybe not in some cases. Some of those doctors make buku money. Same thing with lawyers and judges, depending on what kind of cases they running into. But for the most part, the typical service job is not making what the finance and accounting jobs are making, the typical one. Now, this is why I said it's strange. Banking is a good starting field. And because of it being a place, an environment where they can take people with sometimes who don't have the financial education to start and work there, to employ them. They also are very kind of stingy. Like at banks, some of those people, so at some banks, and I worked at PNC. At some of these banks, you would make more being a teacher. You would make more being a social worker. Like if you're at the bottom tier of bankers, or you are like I said, you could be what do you call it? A teller. They're not making a lot of money. However, that's the key to get into the door. Your job is to be a banker. Being a banker is helped me kind of. I got lucky though. I will say I got a little lucky, but being a banker and seeing that I worked in multiple. No, I'll just say it like that. Being a banker got me the job, my first job at Morgan Stanley. Having a little bit. To be a banker, you have to have some level of financial literacy, and I think that looks good on a resume when you're trying to make some money. That makes good on a resume when they're looking for somebody to fill in a position at an investment company for a temporary time, for a small contract, or in some cases you can jump from one and get a full-time job. But that's whatever. A lot of times. I don't want to get y'all in the habit of wishful thinking. I want y'all to be strategic and prepare for the worst and hope for the best. You know what I'm saying? So, getting into one of those fields or sectors is the first piece of ghetto finance advice I have. That's the first piece of advice I have for somebody that don't come from a lot of money. Now, there are also structural barriers a lot of time with some of these places, especially if you're African American or foundational Black American. FBA sometimes have a hard making into these places, but sometimes they don't. I had a couple Black managers. I've known a couple places where Black people have had hiring power, so they can hire some of their brothers and sisters, even though sometimes they don't. Some don't even be looking out for their own kind. Like they be like, damn, I'm looking for somebody else to work with. But there's some structural barriers, especially aside from the racial structural barriers and some of the sex barriers, meaning like sometimes it's harder for a female to get to manager status. That's happening all over the country. Or they might not be making as much money. People say also too that blacks and minorities, women, people of color, they don't know how to negotiate. That's a BS cover up for the discrimination. However, we should make an effort to teaching minorities, women, Black folks, everybody who's been historically disenfranchised. We need to make an effort. We need to make a habit of teaching them how to negotiate for the highest amount, and that's part of the reason I'm gonna keep it a buck with you in my situation. I was always asking for the highest amount, and they looked at me. They're like, nigga, you're out of your mind. We're not getting you that money, and not only are we not going to give you that money, because you even asked for it, we're no longer interested in your application. Seriously, like that, it'd be tough. But I always stood on my 10 toes down, and I always stood for something that I knew I was worth. Now, I've talked about this in the first video about how to get a job. Do not ask for something that is completely out of the range of the position that you are applying for. Please don't do that. You will look like an idiot. That's the dumbest thing you can possibly do. If the job is a job where nationally, and you got to do research sometimes, if the job is a job that's nationally only $45,000 to $65,000 average, don't ask these niggas for $200,000. That's stupid. Don't do that. Why would you do that? That's dumb. Don't do that. Okay? But you do need to be educated on the position, and you also always want to ask for the highest amount that you can possibly get. If they say no, let them say no. You'll settle for the position salary that they offer. But ask for the highest and keep on negotiating until you get as much as you possibly can and to get to a salary that benefits or that's to your liking. So like I said, first piece of advice, those who come from the ghetto, get into finance, accounting, or banking. That's what I would recommend. The second thing I will say, outside of that, outside of what career you decide to go to, and I want to be very careful about saying go into that career. That's not what I was saying with that. I was just saying those careers should be, if you don't have an idea as to what you want to do with your life, and you come from a poor background or a bad neighborhood or a place where there ain't a lot of money, look into that direction: finance, accounting, and banking. If you do have something that you like, say you wanted to be, maybe so you your whole life. I know some people that say, hey, I've always wanted to be a graphic designer, or oh, I wanted to go in coding when I was a kid. Since I was a kid, I wanted to be a manager, a business manager or something like that. So I wanted to go to music school or something. I don't know. That's cool. The next piece of advice I have for those people that don't want to go into the field of finance is to have some level of financial literacy. Financial literacy is key. Now, what does this mean? What does this mean? When I say have some level of financial literacy, is know how to manage your finances, or know what the environment that we live in the United States or wherever you are is an environment which, I don't want to sound like one of those, in college I went to a liberal arts. I was in the liberal arts department of international studies. That's where the major is. And we always made a habit to call out capitalism. It's capitalism. It's capitalism. It's capitalism. That's the main thing. I don't want to sound like a hag on capitalism, even though I don't really care. To me, capitalism, socialism, it doesn't matter what economic environment we're talking about. Communism, you got to learn how to adapt to whatever economy we live in and be successful. The one we live in is capitalism. So it's not full capitalism, but it's capitalism with regulations, but not very good regulation. You have to learn that in this environment, it's a competition. It's a money grab or a competition. It's a race for profit. And the way you are best equipped for this competition, this war, this money war, is to know finance, is to know how to handle money, is to know everything that you are going to be hit with. And this is something that everybody needs. Basic financial literacy is what they should be teaching at schools. Oh my gosh, they should be teaching, bro. It should be freshman year of high school. You should be taking. It should be mandatory finance classes. But whatever. A lot of people don't get it. I'm gonna tell you one of the main things that you have to understand. and and especially if you are from the hood, you gotta understand interest. The way they get a lot of people from the hood is you need money, so you ask for a loan. They got these places called payday loans places where they will give you money. It's two kinds of evil in this world. There's the evil that says, no, you can't have my money. I'm not giving you a loan. And then there's the evil that says, yeah, I'll give you money. I'll give you as much money as you want with an interest rate. A heavy interest rate, dog. They coming for your banks. You thinking you leaving there with a check. You leaving there with a debt. A debt check. A check that keeps on the check that keeps on having you owe. That the more you get, the more you gonna continue to owe on. It's a check that you get that the amount that you owe on it continues to grow even when you're not even using the money anymore. That's interest. Matter of fact, Albert Einstein, a genius. Yeah, everybody's heard of him. He said there's nothing more dangerous than compound interest. That means that it honestly should be illegal in some cases how much interest people put on the money they give, they allow you to borrow. But where they catch people who are from the hood, where they catch everybody, but especially where I see in poor neighborhoods where they nickel and dime people, they catch them with interest. Second to that, fees. Interest and fees are more dangerous than bullets in the ghetto, because they may not kill and shoot like the local gang member or the local drug dealer or the local just person that maybe needs mental health but has anger issues and can't handle themselves and are trigger happy. They might not kill like that. They might not murder the people that we see on the news 24/7. But everybody else that's not involved in that has to deal with this enemy. And fees and interest on any and everything. They got fees on bills. They got interest on loans. They got fees on you name it, bro. There's fees on phone bills, cable bills, cars try to car and mechanics and all that arena, the automobile department, they always trying to hit you with an extra fee. You know how this game works. So the reason what I'm trying to instill is, maybe and a lot of times it's not that you don't know about this, but when I say is you need to know interest and you need to know fees, when I say that this is this quote unquote ghetto finance advice that I'm giving you right here is how to navigate these in the ghetto. How do you navigate? And I know this, they notice, I noticed this, they do this in black neighborhoods. They do this in black middle class and black rich neighborhoods. They'll put speed meters in the weirdest place. And I've been to my fair share of middle class white neighborhoods, I would say. It's very rare that you see a speed meter in this particular spot. You're interrupting me again. You're interrupting me. I'm preaching. All I can do is shake my head. Speed meters, just weird flaws, because where I'm basing this information off of is actually a lot of the studies that have been done as it relates to where I've come from. The richest, what was the richest black county for most of my life, which is PG County. And it's not the richest black anymore. It's the second richest, but they've done studies on where they put speed meters, how that's changed, how it's different from white to black neighborhoods. They've also done studies about how the black community in PG County and the rest of the United States wasn't able to recover in the same at the same rates as the white communities elsewhere. They've done a number of studies of illegal redlining and predatory lending practices that exist there. And when they talk about predatory lending, hear me out. When they talk about predatory lending, when they're talking about subprime mortgages, they are talking about predatory lending is usually hiked up interest rates or illegal interest rates, or predatory lending is, in the case of subprime mortgages, giving out money to people they know can't pay it back. So, interest and fees. You got to understand that ball game. And I don't want to get into the whole, you also need to know credit. Because I think that, and a lot of times, is they use the whole you need to know credit thing. They use that as like a gun or a sword. They love using that to stab people from low income areas, and I hate that. But in this situation, in the system, I will continue to say forever, the system is rigged. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. I don't want it to be cliche, but essentially, you don't need to know credit. You need to understand how to make your credit history look good. And the best way to make sure your credit history looks good is to pay off, prioritize the stuff that can negatively affect you credit-wise. And what I mean by that is medical bills are one of those things. And a lot of times it's impossible to pay that off. So that's why I don't want to go down the credit loophole. What I will say is the best way to avoid credit mishaps is to not have that much credit. Don't find a way not to ask for credit. But I can't even tell you that. You want to know why? The richest people in the world have credit. They give credit extensions. Credit is used by people that are at the top of this country, the top 1%, the top 10%, the top 5%. People with money, people who are rich, have credit. And don't let anybody lie and tell you that they don't. If you got money, you got a good credit score, and a lot of times you live in a white neighborhood. And the reason why I say that is, they've done studies about actually black people who have good credit scores, have money, have a good credit history, have a great salary, have money in the bank. They go into a bank, apply for a loan, and because they live in a black neighborhood, essentially a black neighborhood, and a neighborhood where other people around them have defaulted on their loan. It's a zip code where other people around them have defaulted on their loan. They're flat out denied. A credit extension or credit access or a loan. There's obstacles put in front of us to not succeed. If you're poor, if you're black, if you're, in some cases, an Asian or another minority, person of color, if you're a woman, there's obstacles put in front. So sometimes I've been in a bank. I've seen it from my eyes. There's some people who had $185,000 in the bank, had an 800 credit score, and was still denied an auto loan, let alone a damn mortgage. There could be reasons for that. But my whole point is, these banks are ambiguous. Credit is ambiguous. I'm not going to tell you need to learn credit. You need to know about it, But that's something if you want to dive deep into the credit knowledge thing, what you can do to make your credit report look better to get ahead. Yeah, whatever. I'll let you figure that one out. But what I will say is, like I said, ghetto finance advice number 2 is understanding fees and understanding interest. And basically, I say those two to say is understanding. The advice is this: understand all the ways in which you will be hit financially, especially if you come from a place where they've already squeezed the wealth, resources, money, the economics out of that place. If you come from the gutter, if you come from the trenches, understand where you will be financially attacked. This is financial warfare. So, the best 2 ways to avoid that is to, what I tell you earlier, go into fields where all the rockets and the attacks are being thrown at you. Finance, accounting, banking. And then 2, make it knowledgeable. Well, I mean, in your own spare time, teach your own self about finance. Teach your own self about finance, and interest and fees are the main places where they will hit you, and that's the main ways in which they will take your money. So understand where they're going to come from. Understand where you're going to be hit at. And I'll add a third one in there: taxes. We all know, and I'm not just talking about, I'm not just talking about like taxes like your income tax. I'm talking about like sales taxes from all angles as well. It's just a type of fee, but it's not a fee, but technically I'm saying it acts like a fee because it's taking money away from you. Taxes. You got a sales tax, you got a beverage tax, you got all types, you got payroll taxes, you got all types of taxes. Taxes. It'd be nice if you can understand taxes. And the way you understand taxes, that's what I was saying. The finance fields, the financial disciplines and the accounting disciplines will teach you about taxes. This is why it's important. That's why the first piece of advice is important. Those are actually the main 2 pieces of advice that I would give. Now, I want to reiterate, I'm not an expert at all. I'm not rich at all. That matter. You've seen my first video. How to get a job, advice from a broke staff accountant. And I should have added a ... another phrase in there. Advice from a broke staff accountant, ... who's broke as hell. So I'm telling you from my experience. But that's okay. We positive. We on our way to 2024. It's the end of 2023. Stay positive. We're on the upward climb, and that's why I'm happy I got my job. Real staff accountant on the way. I ain't a contractor no more. I'm a real staff accountant. Got me a permanent job. But okay. So I'm gonna throw a bonus point in here. The people that get money. And I don't want you to, let me say this. I don't want you to get lost in money. I don't want you to get lost in the quest to get money. I don't want you to get lost. A lot of times what happens is a person that's like, that ain't never had nothing, when they finally get something, they start becoming like the people that deprive their areas of resources in the first place. You become selfish. You become greedy. The job really, the goal here is not to be rich. It's not. The goal is not to be super wealthy or to have a lot of stuff or to be able to buy super expensive things and live this luxury life. That ain't the goal at all, especially not for me. The goal for me is to be able to get by comfortably, financially free, or financially mobile. I don't care about being rich. I care about having enough money to be able to be happy, to be able to go on trips when I want to go on a trip, to be able to pay off my bills, to be able to have enough money if there's an emergency, to be able to pull out money for that emergency. If somebody gets sick in my family, to help out their medical, help out with their medical fees or medical treatments or whatever the case may be. That's the goal. I don't care about being rich. I don't. Matter of fact, I'll take a step further. If I was rich and I was getting that type of money, my goal would be actually to help out people that wasn't rich at all, that continue to help people who ain't got nothing to get comfortable and be able to live a free life like me. If you're going to be rich, get rich so you can be more generous. Be rich so you can help out more people and help out as many people as possible. Get rich so you can feed a lot of people who ain't got food, house a lot of people who ain't housed, and help those who are suffering. That would be the goal. But for this video, if you don't come from a background where you got a lot of money and you from the ghetto, use this ghetto finance advice and put yourself in a position to win. The bonus piece of advice that I wanted to throw in there is take advantage of what's free that can help you change your financial situation. I talked about this before, how important I think a library is when you are poor. A library is like heaven on earth. But more so than just a library, to get money, you gotta be in the company of those who know how to get it and those who have it. Environments where people are that can do something for you are the biggest treasures in the world. Do not go to these financial seminars that are promising you false hope. If nothing else, if you're not gonna not go to them, definitely don't pay. Don't pay for no freaking classes that say I'll make you 10,000 in 6 months. Like, do not pay for the okie doke. Don't pay for the scam. They capping. Do not pay for the scam. They are capping. Don't waste your time at jobs. In my opinion, don't waste your time with jobs that offer commission, that are commission based. Like, honestly, sales jobs, if it's a sales job, dog, I wouldn't do it. I've been there. Don't do it. I used to go door to door selling knives. Do not do it. Your money is not stable when you get into those positions. Don't waste your time with the promise of false hopes just because a kid there who's great at sales, a great salesman, sold 11,000 in a month and got to take home 3,000 based off of the percentage that salesmen get from that company. it doesn't mean you're gonna be like them. Don't fall for that okey doke. They trip. That's what you call that's what you call corporate bipping. That's what you call financial jacking. Okay. That's what you called account scheming. Okay. Don't fall for the okey doke. Okay. They will take your money. You will get finessed. Man, some of these companies, some of these jobs are like not the women under the bus, but some of these jobs are like women. She will play your ass, nigga. Do not fall for the trick. Don't fall for the trick. Always go for a company that is offering a salary or hourly rate. An hourly rate. Always go for a company that's offering an hourly rate or salary. And if you can find a company that pays you every week, that'll come in handy. That helps a lot, bro. Not having to wait every 2 weeks. Find you a company that gives you money every week, week to week. Secondly, yeah, I mean that's kind of it. I want to dive a little bit deeper into this conversation a little bit later and give you some more advice, but I want y'all to swallow those two pieces of advice whole. I want y'all to like really nail down on those. The only reason why I said pause is because I was watching Cameron and Mace's joint. It had me dying. But take those two pieces of advice and be strategic in setting up an environment for you to be financially successful, where you ain't got to do something illegal to get money, where you ain't got to be struggling to get money, where you don't have to do something you don't want to or work at a job you don't want to in order to get money. There are plenty of opportunities. There are crazy opportunities out there. It's just that we just got to navigate to where they're at. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's money out there to be made. You just got to navigate to where they're at. And that's so hard to get to when we don't have access to them or we don't know where they're at. You know what I'm saying? I don't want this to sound like, hey, the reason why you're poor or you're from this area is because you haven't been doing it right. Nah, that's stupid. Always understand, we can do magic. Oh, where's the thing? We can do magic in bed. But I'll add to this, since I want to make this related to the podcast. In a bed full of money. Get you a I will recommend, say you don't have a job, get you a second job, get you 2 jobs, but don't make sure that both those jobs are not in the same field. You get what I'm saying? If one job's retail or service, get you a job as a receptionist. Get you a job as a in finance. Get you a job at, watch this, working as somebody that shows houses. What do you call it? A front doorkeeper or something like that. Or they have these what you call real estate homes. Well, I'm saying real estate, by the way. They have these house showings where you allow for a person to come in and come out. A welcomer, that's what they call it, or Yeah, I think it's a welcomer position. They basically, you show model houses or um neighborhoods that are about to be made, like developed. They got these developed houses. They'll have like a fake house, or not a fake house, but they'll have a house for show that is a model of all the other houses that are going to be on the same block. See if you can get a job like that. And while that's an easy job. That's an easy job because you don't really, between visitors, you got time. While you're there, do some research on how to get a bag. Do some research on finance. Don't fall for the YouTube culture of how to make money. Don't fall for that. The best thing I would say is type in finance jobs or finance industry. Type in accounting jobs or accounting industry. Type in banking jobs or banking industry. Type in jobs that make the most money. Type in entry-level jobs that make the most money. Type in money from grants, scholarships, money from nonprofits, money from business programs. Whatever you can, make it in the system, through the holes of the system, because people from where you were from or that look like us don't make it in those areas. Don't make it through the holes. Find the hole. If they want to treat us like rats and only give us a little tiny bit of cheese, be the rat that is not like the house rat in a cage that they're waiting to just give the little piece of cheese to and then feed to a damn snake. Be the rat that you see in New York and Chicago that's climbing through the streets, climbing through the sewers, up through the campus, all in the walls, making it into people's buildings and the rich people's houses. Be that rat, okay? You see him as soon as you come out of the library. Be those rats. That is very, very precise and knows how to make it through the cracks. You got to make it through the cracks of finance in the U.S. Make it through the cracks of classism, and socio-economic barriers that are keeping us back. Make it through those cracks. And also accept that you might never make it through. Accept that you might be poor for the rest of your life. I mean, I'm just serious. Like, accept that you might always live in the ghetto. Accept that you are born in this life and you were doomed to fail. That way, you're not taken back by every downfall that you run into. You're not taken back by every loss. Sometimes it's just gotta be what it's gotta be. Sometimes you just gonna be broke. But don't stay broke. It's nothing wrong with being broke. It's nothing wrong with being in debt. Just don't stay there. And that's what we tell them. That's why I made this video, Ghetto Finance Advice, is because, hey, this is to get you out of the ghetto. Or make sure you financially good while you there. Now, I would get, if you start doing too well in the ghetto, I would get some security cameras. I'm joking. But no, seriously, I am. I'm telling you the truth. You know, not everybody's on that type of time. And we also don't have to judge every neighborhood for how it is, but These are some important things. These are some important things to get out from the economic deprivation that's hurting a lot of our people, our communities around the world, especially in the U.S. It's easier to do this stuff in the U.S. I'm telling you. Imagine if there absolutely was no economic opportunity, and that's why I'll be talking to a lot of my friends from places where, you know, the poverty rates are a lot higher in, you know, India and Africa, and where their parents might have come from a place where they had to walk 20 miles to a well to get water. Here in the United States, it's not that everybody has an opportunity. Don't ever believe that, because that's not true. But you do got a little bit more breathing room than just not having anything. The poor here is different from the poor there. So learn how to navigate in it. It ain't about playing checkers. You're not going to just run into a bag. You gotta mobilize your way to a bag. And you might not ever get it, but damn it, we got to try. So that's the Ghetto finance advice for today. I hope y'all like this one. Like I said, I'm going to do another video pretty soon. I'm gonna break down federal credit unions versus banks, my experience with that. I'm probably gonna also do another one. I'll probably do another video that's not finance related, not serious topic at all. But we're gonna really get into this bag. Really gonna get into this bag. So your boy, Mike Fulahope, I hope y'all like this video. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you next time. Yes, sir. Peace.